So it's December 2025. What's going on in the housing market? So the Fed just lowered the Fed funds rate by 25 basis points for the third time in 2025. And I think that's kind of a big signal that they're saying, okay, we're not seeing the inflation numbers as bad as we thought they were going to be. Let's bring it down a little bit, which I think overall is going to help really boost consumer confidence more than anything on a really economic scale. So I think that should boost a little bit. So hopefully that kind of gives a little more stability throughout the whole U.S. as the housing market continues. As you know, in our area, we still have low supply with a pretty strong demand, and we're looking to see, what will happen if some of the other places in the country, whether they stabilize, whether prices are going down, that people can move from New York to other places, if they're ready to retire and things like that. So we're going to watch that. We're going to see what happens here. We'll see what happens as far as New York City. I don't think a huge influx of people are coming up in the short term. If anything's going to happen with some politics or some policies in New York City, I think it's going to take a while to take into account. And I think if it does happen, it may add a little bit more pressure coming up from the city, but not anything dramatic. So when we look at it, no matter what, housing is still a great, thing. It's probably your best financial tool. Most people, it's their largest financial tool. If you look at this graph, homeowners gain wealth over time, renters lose it. It's so true. Yeah, I was talking to a client of mine that's been buying homes for, 40 years. And, we talked about just chipping away at the rock. And the reality of it is, with real estate, it's a long-term perspective. It's not a 5-year plan, not a 10-year plan. Honestly, I think it's more of a 20 to 30-year plan, because as you're going in and you're keeping properties as an investment property, you're spending money back into the property, you're making improvements, you're having a tenant that went bad. But in 30 years from now, you have this chunk of equity that's sitting there that you wouldn't have if you didn't put it in. And the same thing goes for your own home as well. If you look at it, you're not going to see a huge amount of growth. Like, oh, I'm going to buy this house today, and in 5 years it's going to be worth $50,000. You're probably going to spend more than $50,000, into the property. So when you look at it, it's more about that long-term savings plan and the long-term growth that will help you out, especially for most people there. To calculate the annual cost of home ownership, we assume a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage with a 5% down payment on a medium-priced home. We then adjust for equity accumulation. If house prices decline, the equity reduction is added to the annual cost of owning. On the other hand, if prices rise, the equity gain reduces the annual cost of owning. When the annual equity gain exceeds the other ownership cost, a home efficiency pays you to live there versus renting. So even though our rent prices are up in our area, it still is much better to own a property than what it is to rent. And if you're able to, you definitely take a look at that. And we've helped clients go through where they thought they were going to rent, and we were able to help them find ways that they could purchase. So when we look at it, Mark Fleming, chief economist, First American, said, across all 4 intervals, homeowners who stayed long enough saw equity gains exceed cumulative ownership costs. Put differently, time in the home allowed equity accumulation to offset the other cost of ownership. Like we talked about, it's over time. That's the big thing as you're going in over time, that regardless of what you're going to put in, it's going to be the benefits on top of the tax benefits, an overall wealth gain. Affordability for home buyers reached a 3-year high in the U.S., according to Zillow. So that's interesting. That's because some of the rates have come down a little bit. In other areas, not really our area, prices have come down. So we've kind of balanced about that affordability. In our area, I don't know if we've hit that yet, because like I said, our market has remained relatively strong. Bankrate had said, no matter which way the real estate market is leaning, though, buying now means you can start building equity immediately. It also means avoiding the potential for mortgage rate fluctuation later. So regardless, whatever the market does, the market does. If you're in a strong economic position, you're in a stable, economic position, market goes up and down over the next few years, you're not going to be affected unless you have to sell it. And if it does, in my opinion, locally, I don't think we're going to see a huge influx down if we see downward pressure on it. One good thing is that we are starting to see, especially on a national level, inventory open up. And this is probably, let's see, it's the inventory top 1 million for the 6th consecutive month in a row. And when we look at it, what does that mean for us here? If you were looking to sell in New York and you want to go to North Carolina, California, Florida, whatever the case may be, but there was no inventory, I'm going to stay put. Right now that we're seeing more inventory, we're seeing some of those prices, come down, some less bidding wars on some of those, and it may make sense for certain people that have been holding off the last couple of years. Now there's an opportunity for them to make a move, which creates more inventory here for us. Regional trends, time on the market keeps on ticking. So the Northeast did the best, tied with the Midwest, that it's only up 2 days. compared to the West that was up 8 days. So we're doing better than a lot of other places throughout the country. The share price cuts is back to normal levels. So we're seeing this, that most of the time, a lot of things, something comes on the market, we have a price cut. Remember, these graphs are nationally. We're back to about that average is about 20% for 2025. Okay, price reductions have begun to show some more uniformity by region. Guess what? Northeast is doing the best. The average is a little over 20%. The Northeast is 14.5, which shows that we are doing better. And I would almost guarantee our area, the Boston metro area, those prices, we have less of those price reductions happening. So when we look at it, overall strong market, we're still seeing strong activity in the beginning of December. I think it's going to continue along, with things. Obviously, we'll probably get a little slow towards the holidays, but definitely reach out. You have any questions? Getting a lot of people saying we're thinking about making a move in 2026. What do we need to do to get our house ready? What do we have to do? What makes sense for us to spend money in it? Let's sit down. Let's have a consultation. And people that are looking to purchase, it's a great time. We find out what makes sense for you, what opportunities are there, and we'll put a game plan together. So if I don't talk to you before, have a happy and healthy holiday season. Any questions, feel free to reach out.